To turn my microphone on? Okay, I'm on. Okay, very good. Well, we're delighted to have you all with us today for the installation of Reverend Nicole Robbins and Reverend Suzy. Yeah, let's give her some love. Why not? Reverend Suzy Andrews in absentia, and the ordinations finally. Since when they were ordained in 2019, and then of course we had the COVID cloud of unknowing. So Reverend Kathy Lyons and Reverend Jessica Fish. So I'd just like to thank you all for being here. Many of you here are in leadership and or have been in leadership. And so it's just, or have been in service in a big way for our center. So it's wonderful to see you and so appropriate that each one of you are here today. So on behalf of our ministers and our Board of Trustees, thank you very much. All right, so with that, I'm going to invite Dr. Maureen to come on up. Yes, give Dr. Maureen some love. So Dr. Maureen was also the instructor. So you're... Yes. Oh, that's right. I'm lighting.
Welcome. What an auspicious occasion this is. And I am so pleased to be here at the lectern for Reverend Kathy and Reverend Jessica for sure, because they were my students. I could say things about that, but it's probably not appropriate at this time. So I love them both. So our call to service, as always, at anything at this center of spiritual nature, is lighting the flames of faith. And Reverend Mike is the candle lighter today. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from that one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. As Reverend Mike lights the first candle, it is for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. The second candle we light for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths as the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the 10th candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we hold them here at this center and in our hearts. As Reverend Dr. Mike lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love. So,
Just a sec. Are you playing the music?
Grateful, so grateful, I trust in God. I surrender, I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I trust in God.
that's so weird. As I was doing the lighting the flames of faith, I looked over and expected to see somebody at the piano, and it was like very strange for just a second. So I'm what they would call the presenting minister today. And, oh, yes, thank you very much. Thank you. I do need a reminder periodically. We have not done a ceremony like this for a very long time. And I think for me, it's been at least about 6 years that I've participated in something like this. So join me in consciousness and know with me that the power and presence of Spirit has identified itself by means of everyone here today. That we are a part of, and we are all of the qualities of God, and yet we maintain our own unique and wonderful individuality in that process. I know for each one of us here that wherever we are, that is where the center of the universe is. Wherever we are, that is where meaning has its beginning. To know that we have a purpose in this world, to know in every fiber of our being that we are important and unique, to know that without us, the world would not be the same. This is the extent of our demonstration on this plane of consciousness. I know for everyone participating in this ceremony today, whether being installed as a staff minister or whether ordained as a minister for life, it is an honor and a privilege to serve in this manner. There is a calling within each one of us so deep that it has to be acknowledged and recognized. And that is what we're here to do today for everyone who is being noticed, shall we say. And so I know as I joyfully receive and give thanks for the opportunity to be here today, I know, as always, that God is in the mix and all is well. As we proceed with this ceremony today, it is already done and complete in the mind of God, and we're just simply here to fill in the details as we say together, and so it is. So
if you want,
Reverend Mike has some brief comments that he would like to make.
if you want to take a seat.
I will. Thank you very much.
There is a method to our madness today, but when I did the Flames of Faith, I covered up the program, so that's why you didn't know where you were. It was a test.
Oh, thanks for covering for me.
Yes, because the business today is actually about two things. One is installing, finally, Reverend Nikki and Reverend Suzy Andrews as staff ministers here. And Reverend Nicole will be ordained soon enough. And then I guess this is our dress rehearsal for your ordination. Right. And so welcome. Well, you kind of look like Reverend Kathy. Are you related to Reverend Kathy Lyons? Yeah. Hi, so come on up here with, yeah, we saved you a spot. So welcome. All right. So there are milestones on the path of ministry. One is that initial tap on the shoulder that we get that tells us, you know, this might be a good thing for you to do. And of course, you say, oh, no way, that's not happening, right? And yet, the Spirit is persistent. And so we're here to honor the calling of specifically our ministers whom we are honoring here today. But we're also here to honor the calling that each one of us has made every time we allow the Spirit to move us forward in our own life, which really is what the practice of being a practitioner of religious science, that is what it is allowing the Spirit to use our life as a demonstration of its power and presence. And so years ago, when Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes first laid out this teaching, he, in his very first edition of Science of Mind magazine, posted what I believe. And these are now today known as our Declaration of Principles. And I hope Andrea didn't step out to go take care of food stuff. It looks like she did. So I will give her 2 minutes while I tell you guys a joke. All right. So, so I'm just going to get it started and she can take over, all right? So because this is the long version. This isn't our Sunday morning version. All right, and this idea of what we believe has been included in every Science of Mind magazine issue since 1927. And so I'm going to invite Andrea. And so we're going to start right here and end there.
Okay, so these are the principles of the Science of Mind philosophy. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualized expressions of the one Spirit. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. We believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick and control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God.
Thank you, Andrea. Yes, we can give her some love. Go ahead. So Andrea is one of our practitioners and former board president and member of our board for at least 6 years. Yeah. 8 years? 7 years. Oh, that's right. I asked her for a bonus year because of COVID, once again. All right, so we're going to move into our installation ceremony, and first I just want to share a quick bio. So some of our newer members may have just met Reverend Suzy Andrews, or maybe you haven't. But what I want you to know about that is Reverend Suzy is a longtime religious scientist going back to the Glendale centers and probably back further than that. But for me, she was one of the first practitioners that I met when I started coming here in October of 2000. And so for both Reverend Suzy, now Reverend Kathy Lyons was the head of practitioners when I first started coming here, and always did a great job on Sunday mornings. And Reverend Suzy made herself really indispensable here and went into ministerial training with Dr. Maureen, then Reverend Maureen, soon to be Dr. Maureen. And I think Reverend Dr. Maureen's probably trained 15, 20, 27 ministers. Yeah. And this is your 30th year? 30th year in ministry. Yeah, so we should have a party for that sometime soon. Yeah. So we're delighted to have Reverend Suzy back. She served at Spirit Works for several years until they had to close their center, and so she helped them through that. And then I was so delighted that she found her way back here. And so next time you see her, just tell her that we missed her on her installation day. All right, and now on to Reverend Charlotte Nicole Robbins. She writes this, that I feel like my life has always been about ministry. I remember as a 5-year-old child being wheeled into surgery and being scared, and as the elevator doors closed, she was surrounded by 4 angels who said, "It's going to be okay." And from that point on, she knew that her life was going to work out. It was, and that she had forgotten about this experience until years later, where, but Spirit showed up. Let's see. But Spirit still put me in sacred places, she writes, like going to college in Flagstaff, Arizona on a scholarship just up the road from Sedona, where all the hippies live today. And there's energy vortexes and all kinds of cool things going on there. And she writes, I spent many days in Sedona not knowing it was a sacred place, but knowing it felt good to be there. And in my adult years, I spent a lot of time in the south of Spain, also a sacred place. So she'd been blessed to travel to many sacred places on the planet. So how she came to the center? Her brother met this masseuse in his business networking meeting and said that you should get a massage from this woman, and which brought her to her favorite place now, Centers for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills. And she writes that, Reverend Nicole writes that, I walked into this center to get a massage from our dear Agneta and never left. Not only did I not leave but took every class there was to take, and somehow here we are installing her as staff minister. As I said, like many of us who come to ministry, she also writes, "It was never my intention to become a minister, but the classes were so amazing by Reverend Dr. Mike." Oh, no, it doesn't say that. The classes were so amazing that she couldn't stop. A big participant in the Sangha with Reverend Jeannie Hoffman, of course. "I am not sure," she writes, "what my vision for ministry is, but I do know that Spirit has a plan, and I'm a grateful passenger. And I'm going to leave you to make your own thank yous." And so, Reverend Nicole, if you could come on up, along with, is your mother going to stole you? All right. So, make room for everybody here. You can stand over there. What? You can, yeah, you can have the whole room up here if you can get them up here.
Landon, come here. Come here. I don't have any children of my own, but this is the closest to my daughter.
All
And
right.
my granddaughter.
Yes.
Come here.
Okay. So if you can hold that, and I'll pop up here. Ministers, Board of Trustees, licensed practitioners, congregation, and friends, we are gathered here today to install this minister of religious science as the official minister of this member center. Official notification has been received by the Centers for Spiritual Living in Golden, Colorado, that Reverend Charlotte Nicole Robbins has been duly chosen to be the one of the staff ministers here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California. A minister of religious science acts in threefold capacity in fulfilling this office. She serves as a minister to the congregation and counselor to all who come to her for help and guidance. She is a leader of people, has the sole charge of ecclesiastical functions as they are assigned to her, and in this end that Reverend Nicole is our youth and family minister. This is the focus of her staff ministry, that she has already stepped into helping to develop some new programs, new curricula, and marketing ideas for bringing more youth and family into our center. And we're grateful that that Bailey is allowing herself to be roped into that effort. And for Langdon as well. So we're, and as many of you know, Reverend Nicole is also a very active instructor of not only the Sangha, which she has taken over with Reverend Jeannie Hoffman's blessing and maybe even a shove, but has also already taught several certified classes that have helped to get our own new batch of ministers qualified for their new practitioner licenses, and we'll be honoring them soon. So she is officially recognized by Centers for Spiritual Living as an accredited teacher of certified classes, and that every minister of religious science must first have received a license and recognition as a practitioner before we may be licensed or ordained as ministers. Therefore, Reverend Nicole and all of us who serve as ministers are always practitioners first, and which means that our calling then is to meet the needs of the people when that call is made. So I now ask anyone here who is on our board of trustees, so that would be Scott, if you would just stand along with Vinu. Do we have any of our other adjunct? You're an adjunct? You can raise your hand if you want. Okay. Earlier, you heard our declaration of principles. So I'm speaking to you right now, by the way. Okay, now I now present, representing our Board of Trustees and this congregation of the Granada Hills Church, the Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living, I almost said Church of Religious Science, that Reverend Nicole be duly installed as the official minister of this center. Do you hereby agree? Yes, okay, thank you. Earlier, Reverend Nicole, you heard our declaration of principles. Do you accept these principles and promise to adhere to them and make them the basis of your teaching?
Most definitely.
Can you say that louder, please?
Most definitely.
There we go. Yeah, okay, we got a few more. Do you so consecrate yourself to the ministry that you will do your utmost at all times to reflect the Christ within in all you think, say, and do?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do you so dedicate yourself that you will be constantly aware of the Spirit within all people, and that you will see only the perfect spiritual person, perfect in mind, body, and in spirit?
Yes.
Do you promise to minister faithfully and lovingly to the people now committed to your charge, and to seek ever to be an example of moderation, patience, and loving kindness?
Yes.
May the infinite Spirit, which empowers you to do all these things, grace you with the strength faithfully to perform the same and to live the vision of this center and the vision of Centers for Spiritual Living and your own personal calling and vision to ministry. And so it is. Members of the Board of Trustees, we now present to you this individual has been duly elected to serve. Not only do these board members oversee the business affairs of your center, but their individual and collective awareness establishes the consciousness for the entire congregation. Reverend Nicole, do you promise to follow the light of truth, seeking at all times to be aware of what is right, rather than who is right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Board of Trustees, do you accept Reverend Nicole Robbins as one of our staff ministers and teacher?
We do. Yes, we do.
All right, thank you. Now you may be seated. Now I ask the practitioners to stand. Yeah, you thought the Catholics did a lot of standing and sitting. All right. Our staff minister here knows and understands the role of the licensed practitioner as part of our ecclesiastical team, establishing and maintaining a continual consciousness of the spiritual vision of this center, that all of us also carry out most of our work in the great and powerful silence. The fruits of this work are manifested as demonstration in the lives of yourselves, your clients, and of our center. Do you, practitioners, consecrate yourself to this spiritual vision and activity? Yes. Installing, okay. Can you promise at all times that it will be obvious where your commitments are?
Yes.
Do you, practitioners, accept Reverend Nicole Robbins as one of our staff ministers and spiritual teachers?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. And so now to the congregation. So we're leaving no stone unturned here. So those of you who are congregants, please stand, and thank you for joining us today. So believe it or not, you are the voice of the center. You are the ambassadors of religious science out in our community. You are the backbone as the volunteers giving service. Do you promise to uphold and practice the principles of religious science moment by moment? Yes. Do you promise to uphold the vision of our center? Yes. If you have a differing opinion, do you promise to meditate first, think secondly, and speak lastly? All right, let me read this one again. I can see there's a little. If you have a differing opinion, do you promise to meditate first, think secondly, speak lastly, and then take it to Reverend Nancy Woods? Yes? Yes, all right. So do you promise to give your time, talent, and treasure to this beloved activity known as the Centers for Spiritual Living, Granada Hills? Yes, I know you do. Do you accept, congregation, do you accept Reverend Nicole Robbins as your staff minister and teacher? Yes. All right, thank you. You may be seated. All right, so Reverend Nicole Robbins. Reverend Charlotte Nicole Robbins. We have to get the legal name in here, right? Reverend Charlotte Nicole Robbins, through the authority vested in me by the Centers for Spiritual Living of Golden, Colorado, and acting on behalf of this congregation, I do install you here and now as a minister, as a staff minister and teacher of the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining to your office. Teach, heal, and minister to the people. Peace be with you. The God of peace dwells richly in your heart, and through this love makes your labor fruitful in the eternal life. So now, I ask the ministers now to please stand. As colleagues, okay. Brothers and sisters, or sisters in ministry, I suppose. As colleagues, do you promise to give friendship, your love, and spiritual support to our new staff minister? Yes. All right, that's easy. Now you guys can sit down. And so, with that, I would ask Bailey and Margie to come forward. And as a symbol of your office here as a staff minister for the Center for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills, accept this stole as an outward sign of the commitment that you have already made spiritually to yourself and to the Spirit. I now present to you our new staff minister, Reverend Charlotte Nicole Robbins. Let's give her some love. You may be seated, and you may either use the podium or the microphone.
Hello. Give a minister a mic, right? I just wanted to say some very quick thank yous, obviously, to Reverend Dr. Mike and Reverend Dr. Maureen and Reverend Nancy and Reverend Jessica and Reverend Kathy and all our congregation and friends who've come here today, and my daughter, our former board president, Andrea. Oh my God, all of you, Kitty, and all of you have been so special to me in this process. And I never set out to be a minister, but I walked in here with Agneta and to get a massage. And many of you know the story about the sangha that was going on and the little blue-haired ladies doing a little tiptoe around the room. And Agneta was running late. So I got to hang out with sangha, and I just remember, what is going on at this place? I thought everyone was crazy here, and now I realize everyone is crazy. And I'm so grateful to be part of it. And I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you, your friendship, your support. I mean, Reverend Nancy's on speed dial, poor Reverend Nancy, and Andrea and Kitty. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you, and it's just a really special place, and I feel really blessed to have walked into this CSL. There's many CSLs in our neighborhood, one right down the street from where I work, but this is the one I walked into. Even when someone told me about the North Hollywood one like 20 years ago, this is the one I walked into, and this is the one that I just feel has just this heart. It's just a heart. This is a beautiful heart, and I want to say thank you to Bailey, who I got to, and Landon, who I got to practice all my thoughts on many, many years ago. We would sit there and just discuss life. And so I'm just so blessed to have such a wonderful daughter. I have many daughters, but this one's true to my heart, and my granddaughter. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Reverend Mike, for putting this together, and Debbie for a beautiful job. So thank you.
Okay, so let's give her some more love one more time. And now I'm going to ask you to come back up, along with Reverend Nancy. Come on up here. And those are the ministers that we have here today, besides our ordained ones. And so, first, a quick bio. So Reverend Kathy sent this to me, that Reverend Kathy started her spiritual journey in the 90s at the Glendale Church of Religious Science. Her first teacher, the wonderful and renowned Reverend Helen Street, inspired her to study the spiritual principles in depth. That she joined the Granada Hills, then the Granada Hills Church of Religious Science, when she moved to Granada Hills in 1997, with the encouragement of Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt. Reverend Kathy took the ministerial courses in the early 2000s. These classes gave Reverend Kathy confidence with speaking and leadership skills. However, being a spiritual director was not her calling, and after doing online research, she discovered that animal chaplaincy is in fact a viable and needed, much needed ministry. That she became our official animal kinship minister in 2008, and as this the mistress of all things animal ministry, Reverend Kathy is available for animal blessings, memorials, and services, and gives support when making the painful decision when it's time to euthanize our beloved pets. And so from 2016 to 2022, she has also volunteered as at the Calabasas Pet Cemetery, where she does a monthly remembrance service. And that, for those of you who were here, Reverend Kathy was the officiant at the celebration of life service for Mr. Orange, a.k.a. Red, a.k.a. whatever name he was given, the so-called stray cat who lived in the alley behind the church for many, many years. In 2019, she was approved for ordination, and she looks forward to continuing serving at the Granada Hills Center with our director, Reverend Dr. Mike. All right, so let's give some love to Reverend Kathy. And now for Reverend Jessica. She writes that her most important spiritual service is as a religious science practitioner. And those of you who've been to practitioner class with her know this for sure in spades. She started in the science of mind in 1995 at the Agape International Church of Religious Science, where the science of mind classes were focused on the love that is found in this teaching. Love and expression is what attracted Reverend Jessica to this teaching, and I would say is still the flame that fires your ministry today. At Agape, Reverend Jessica served in transition or hospice and bereavement support. That Reverend Jessica has a strong spiritual practice in Vipassana meditation, studying with Shinjin Young, who's a renowned meditation instructor, as well as a professor at UCLA. I don't know if he's still teaching or not, but go Bruins. And then here at our center, She has served as the head of the practitioner corps, as leader of the twin group, and I just want to say publicly that I so appreciate your support and really being the supreme effort that goes into practitioner training at our center. She read all the papers, graded all the stuff, made sure everybody had everything in place, and frankly, I could not do a practitioner class here without her support. So I just truly, really support or appreciate that. She currently supports our online live stream and fellowship, which I know Cheryl and Melena and others really appreciate, along with Lissa, in addition to continue to facilitate the bereavement support group here also online at our Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. So let's give some love. Yes. And so if you can can you help Reverend Jessica make it on up? And so we're going to, you guys are going to surround them. Come on up, Reverend Kathy, and what's your name? Stacy. Come on up here, Stacy. So you guys stand over here on this side. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Welcome back to America. Yes. So Stacy came all the way from Amsterdam to be here today. Okay, just the ministers. Thank you. Oh, you're stolen. Yes. So get on up here. I'm sorry, I forgot. All right, so let's get everybody situated. Okay. And I'm going to give this to you. And I'm going to give this to you. All right. You can step up here if you want a little more elbow room. All right, so we're all up here. We're all set to go. So I asked Reverend Dr. Maureen to assist us today. She is the presenting minister, and I will be the ordaining minister. So kick it off there.
I will.
And
So-
you don't have to stay to this.
I don't?
You can ad lib all you want.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure they're hungry, smelling the delicious food out there. This is wonderful that Reverend Kathy and Reverend Jessica, as I said earlier, being former students, I get to be here on behalf of that. We present to you Reverend Kathy to be ordained into the ministry of the Centers for Spiritual Living. We present Reverend Jessica for the same reason, to be ordained into the ministry for Centers for Spiritual Living.
So, Reverend Dr. Maureen, are you convinced that these two ministers with whom you are presenting are prepared and worthy for the office and work as ordained ministers of religious science?
I am. They are inquiring minds and challenging minds, which is not always a good thing under certain circumstances, but let me just say this, that being as they were the last ministerial class that I taught here at the Centers for Spiritual Living, it was a pleasure to have them aboard for that event. We have inquired concerning Reverend Kathy and Reverend Jessica and believe them to both be prepared and worthy of this consideration.
Okay, so these candidates have been found to be prepared and ready to receive ordination in the Centers for Spiritual Living, having completed the required period of licentiate ministry. So in this particular denomination, just because you go to ministerial school, you don't get the ordination component until you have demonstrated a consciousness of ministry. And so we are gathered here to witness a magnificent ceremony of initiation, welcoming, and transformation. Ordination is an initiation of a licensed minister into the lifelong calling of ministry. Today, you are marrying God.
It doesn't say that in here.
It is a welcoming. Truly, it is a welcoming on the behalf of the family of all ordained ministers of our faith, of one more, or in this case, two more, into our ranks. So our Dr. Maureen, our presenting minister today, will now give you the charge.
Reverend Kathy and Reverend Jessica, the ties of a minister to her ministry represent a bond that is sacred, empowering, safe, constant, and with this ceremony, everlasting. With ordination, you step into a new life of spiritual service and commitment. That's the big C word. Ministry, with its glorious moments of holy revelation and its changing moments of messy group dynamics, becomes your lifelong passion, your own classroom, your crucible. Today you enter into a path of no return. You become a minister for life. And that is actually true, no matter what. No one can take ordination away from you. This union is to be undertaken with great consideration and respect for your ministry, for those people who comprise your ministry, and for yourselves. Out of all the possibilities for giving your gifts to the world, you have chosen to be a minister for Centers for Spiritual Living. This is a tremendous blessing to us, and we want it to be a tremendous blessing for you, year after year after year after year. Over the years, your ministry and you will change, but your unchanging commitment to the desires of your heart that brought you here today will ensure a life of sacred satisfaction in your ministry. Do not hold back. Give all the wisdom, the organizational skills, and all the love you have to give. Of course, love is the most important part. A minister must have a breadth of heart that holds others' hearts, comforts, heals, and remains deep enough to serve your own spiritual growth. There's no doubt in my mind that both Reverend Kathy with her pet ministry and Reverend Jessica with her deep love of everyone that's ever come to her or been a part of her life, it shows up every time. Do not be an island. Seek the help and support you need. Get your rest and take breaks. I need to remind a person standing behind me to do that. But it's really true. It's time, take time for rest and retreat. Let your thoughts be centered on the divine and seek to see the Holy One in every person you meet, no matter how difficult that may appear at times. I charge you, dear ministers, to teach, heal, love, minister to all, and may the peace of God be ever in your heart, the truth of God be expressed through your words, and the light of God move through your hands into the world that awaits the mighty gifts you have to give.
So I also want to acknowledge, I've talked about how much Reverend Jessica supported the practitioner class, but I also want to acknowledge Reverend Kathy in this regard because she was present at almost every class. She covered for us a couple times. It's a 2-year training, by the way. And that's like really 2 years now, not like 2 years, like a year and 6 months of goofing around.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So, and I also want to acknowledge Reverend Kathy publicly about what an amazing practitioner she is. And I can still see you in this powder blue outfit, like my very first time here, doing a spiritual mind treatment, and I'm going, well, I don't know what the hell she's talking about, but I like that. So Reverends Jessica, Reverend Kathy, the Centers for Spiritual Living has consented to this convening of this ordination service in recognition of the fact that your ministry is precious to it and to us. This center offers you this celebration to demonstrate your sincerity and commitment to this ever-enlarging dream of growth and consciousness that will lift the human spirit and heal a troubled world. You have heard charged offered by Reverend Dr. Maureen. Are you now prepared to take your vows to become a minister for life? Vows as a minister for life in the Centers for Spiritual Living. Yes?
Yes.
You could have said, I do, then it would have really felt like getting married. All right. All right, so do you dedicate yourself to respond faithfully to the needs of all those who call upon you?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, let's get one solid yes from each of you. All right. Will you bring the very best that you are? No, let me say, will you continue to bring the very best that you are in your ministry for the love of the people you serve and for your own deepening?
Yes.
Please fold your hands over your heart as a symbol of the sanctity for which you now take these vows. And I'm going to do these separately. Reverend Kathy Lyons, do you promise to love and to be loyal to the teachings of the science of mind and the ministry you serve?
Yes.
Do you promise to minister to all those who come to you and to the best of your ability and seek the face of God in all people?
Yes.
Do you promise to maintain your own spiritual practice so that your relationship with Spirit is always fresh and new?
Yes.
And do you promise to promote harmony, peace, and right action whenever and wherever you find yourself called to be and to minister?
Yes.
Yes. Reverend Jessica, holding your hands over your heart, do you promise to minister to all those who come to you to the best of your ability and seek to see the face of God in all people?
Yes.
Do you continue to promise to maintain your own spiritual practice so that your relationship with the Spirit is always fresh and new?
Yes.
And do you promise to promote harmony, peace, and right action wherever you find you are called to minister?
Yes.
Yes. Now, please repeat after me. So we'll do this together.
Okay.
So you're going to repeat your name, okay? I
Reverend Jessica.
commit to my ministry for my lifetime.
Yes.
No, you're going to repeat it.
Ministry of my lifetime.
Commit to my ministry for lifetime.
I promise to open my life to God.
I promise to open my life to God.
I promise to open my life to God.
Yeah, you can say these together.
Okay, good.
Okay. So that I may hear what is mine to do.
So that I may hear what is mine to do.
I promise to tenderly care
I promise to tenderly care
for all who come to me in spiritual need.
for all to come to me in spiritual need.
From this day forward,
From this day forward,
I will seek to make the world
I will seek to make the world
a place of increased love,
a place of increased love,
of peace and joy,
of peace and joy,
I send my word forth. To heal and to prosper. And pray and know that God is fulfilled. In, through, and as me. Reverend Jessica, because you have been found eminently qualified for ordination, and because you have made your sacred vows in front of your colleague and friends by the authority vested in me by the Centers for Spiritual Living, I now confer upon you ordination as a minister for Centers for Spiritual Living. Congratulations. Now we can be eye to eye.
Okay.
Beloved Reverend Kathy, because you have been found eminently qualified for ordination, and because you have made your sacred vows in front of your colleagues and friends, by the authority vested in me by the Centers for Spiritual Living, I now confer upon you ordination as a minister for spiritual living. Congratulations. The Centers for Spiritual Living has a special gift for you, which is a symbol of your newly acquired station as an ordained minister. The stole that we now confer upon this newly ordained minister is a symbol of commitment to the promise they have already made, devotion to a life of spiritual service, and a reminder that the power of the Infinite One is available to all present whenever this minister wears this stole for years to come. It is a garment of spiritual power. Your ordination stole is purple and gold, and though colors mean different things to different people, among people of faith, purple is understood to be the color of devotion, mystery, peace, and nobility. Purple combines the calm stability of blue and the fierce energy of red. Yeah. It is trimmed in gold, which is intimately linked with divinity. Gold symbolizes wealth used wisely and represents illumination, love, compassion, and courage. The satin fabric is a reminder that your ministry, just like your life, is woven from the threads of many people, many events, and understandings, and it is all of these many different experiences that make your life, as well as your ministry, strong in a beautiful tapestry of truth. The smooth quality of satin reminds us that in rough spots of our ministry, we lean into our spiritual being. It is one of smoothness, beneath and ever present in the midst of life's challenges. Our signs of mind symbol expresses the triune nature of the Spirit, which continually reveals itself in the hearts of our lives, reminding us that the Spirit descends into and expresses as all form, and that the sacred, that all is sacred, that all is divine. And every time you wear this stole, you are linked with all the clergy, all spiritual teachers around the globe and across and through the centuries. No pressure. No. You carry now upon your shoulders the form and essence of your ministry: clarity, love, and strength, of a great philosophy and a rich and fulfilling way of life, that this stole is a loving blessing to you and to all who bless and all you bless in your ministry. So Reverend Kathy, Reverend Jessica, the time has come for you to accept this symbol of spiritual power. May it be that each time you put your stole on your shoulders for all the years in ministry, that you draw strength from it, from every spiritual worker from time immemorial, who also donned a garment of spiritual power. So let's go ahead and place the stole. May you remember the love that accompanies the presentation of this stole here today. And when you wear this garment, may you always enter the clarified partnership with the divine. So I'm going to ask Reverend Nancy to come over. That is the end of this particular part of the, we only have another hour to go. No. I'm going to ask Reverend Nancy. What? Yeah, okay, well, before we do that. Yeah, so I now present to you our ordained ministers, Reverend Jessica Fish. There you go. We'll bring the microphone to you, okay?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Okay, I'm going to have Reverend Nancy, let's do our remarks first. Where'd Reverend Kathy get off to? Come on over here and give us a few remarks. Good. That's it, Rev. Take a seat.
Hi, I'd like to thank everybody for being here to participate in this. We finally got to have this ceremony. Reverend Jessica and I, we qualified 4 years ago, but then the plan, like they say, the best laid plans sometimes go awry, so COVID, so now finally we're able to have it. And so I want to thank Reverend Dr. Maureen. She was taught the ministerial class, and then Reverend Mike and everyone here. I'm not going to go in all the details, but animal ministry I really felt is my calling. I didn't want to stand up here and do a Sunday sermon every Sunday. That wasn't my calling, but serving people and their animals during times when they're going through grief, or just to talk about animals. If anybody wants to talk about their animals, their cats, their dogs, their lizards, whatever it is, I'm here to talk about it. That's my passion, animals. I grew up with animals, and that's been my passion for life. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Reverend Kathy. And Reverend Jessica, you can use this microphone. You can sit if you need to sit.
Can I sit?
Yeah, you can sit. She can sit, right? Yes. Yeah, all right.
I got a great back of my head here. It's really nice. Anyway, you know, one thing that is so meaningful to me today is to feel all the love of this congregation and all of you who turned out. It's when I first came through the doors here, I felt that love, and it's been getting stronger every day. You know, and I've been here since 2006, and when I graduated, got my ministerial license in October 2011, I didn't expect to grow as much inside. I thought ministerial stuff was about being out here, you know, and being of service. But I found that
being of service to this congregation has really grown me inside, for my clarity of my mind and my heart, especially Reverend Mike's Wednesday night meditation service. If you don't go, you should go. I want to thank Reverend Mike, because Reverend Dr. Mike, because it was his support and encouragement to do what I wanted in my service, not what the center needed, you know. And so I'm really happy to have been doing the bereavement support group for all these years. I did it at Agape for a long time. We do it online, and it's amazing because I'm grateful for the fact that the center uses the technology, because now that we're online, we're not limited by location or time, you know. I guess you're just limited by your Spectrum broadband, you know. but this center is so loving. You know, I live in Acton, and there's a center up there too. But you know, when Agape went independent and I shopped my license around, I came here because it is so full of love, and that love is all of you. It's not just the head down. It's the congregation is the heartbeat of our center. And I am so grateful that I get to stand with these other consecrated women, Reverend Nikki and Reverend Suzy and Reverend Kathy, in being acknowledged, in being ordained. It's just such a great place to be. And I really, really, really thank you. And, of course, love you. Bye.
All right. So this concludes this portion. I'm going to ask Reverend Nancy to pray us, to close us out with the closing treatment, and maybe do a blessing on our meal. There's plenty of food, so if you've come here hungry, you're in luck.
Oh, congratulations for all of you, and welcome. So I know and understand that power that has brought all of us here in each seat, and every consciousness and all the awareness that we are experiencing, particularly that aspect of love. To know and to understand that this wondrous intelligence, this wondrous presence that created all things is what has guided and directed us to the place that we are today. It is with a consciousness of gratitude and appreciation that we welcome these souls who have dedicated their lives to the idea of demonstrating the power of knowing that presence and knowing and utilizing it to live life to its fullest. And as we go forth from this experience today, it is in recognition of this guidance and direction that we are in, that we can embrace the idea of being loving individuals, willing and open and receptive to the guided step to lift our fellow man in some way and somehow. And we do it in our greatest way when we lift ourselves and be the light of who and what we are. And as I know that this truth is really demonstrated by those that we have welcomed here today, who have demonstrated it in their lives by devoting their time and energy and all their focus towards being a guiding light of love, of peace, of harmony. The qualities of the divine being demonstrated in a living experience. All of these truths and all this understanding, we say thank you. And as we know that that law that has guided us here, it is so the law that prepared the food through the hands of its beloved. And we know that that which it has prepared gives us with the energy of living life to the fullest. All these words and all this understanding, we just say, oh, how we embrace life and love today. And thank you all as we say together. And so it is.
All right, so make sure you take some time to give some love to our honored conferees today. And we're going to take a moment to get out of our robes and our stoles and get some water in us, and we'll meet you on the other side. Thank you for being here today.